It doesn't matter. What's important is you're
Yes,
here.
that's the most important thing. She's not dead.
Yeah, no use staying when...
Oh, just then the door to the ballroom slams open.
I don't have any plans of staying longer. I'm only here to fetch my friend. I wasn't expecting to see an asshole standing beside him, though.
Threats do not work on me.
It's kind of creepy because it's true. Oh! Girl, you gotta stop! Kick her!
Girl, let me go.
I saved Rebecca! Hey internet, it's Jessica and welcome back to The Letter. So today we are gonna be in Ashton's chapter and unfortunately he has to die, and this is gonna be extremely horrible because I am trying to get him together with Isabella and I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but still I don't like the fact that he has to die too, so prepare yourselves guys, because here we go.
Maybe you even just used me to get into the party.
Okay, so Becca's a little bit mad because remember, I was surprised they didn't end up arguing when they left the party in Rebecca's chapter, so let's see what she has to say here.
You said yes to being my +1, but you were rather excited to just peel yourself off, weren't you? Honestly, I'm feeling a bit used.
I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I lied to her. It wasn't that I lied to her. I honestly wanted to be there to keep Zach safe, to keep Rebecca safe, just in case. Client or friend... Okay, wait, I already did this one, right? Yeah. But then Cheap showed up, Hannah Wright happened, and Luke Wright just couldn't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere. All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered.
It's confidential, Rebecca.
I wonder how many times I've told her that. And not just her, my dad, my mom, Zach, and even Isabella. I was so clueless back then, wasn't I? Boy, did I learn. I think it's just because of what happened with the professor, so he's just like, never again am I gonna like tell people about my job and stuff like that so they don't get hurt.
Official police business, huh? So you did use me?
Used. The way she utters it just makes me feel like a total scumbag. It's not like I didn't do it on purpose, but I just can't hold someone else responsible for this, right? Who am I going to blame? The chief? Hannah Wright? Luke Wright? Doing so feels like cowardice. It doesn't change the fact that I'm the one who puts us in this situation. I couldn't even look at her anymore, with this guilt eating me up inside. But then she laughs. Oh, this is different! Heartfelt and barely a hint of cheer in it, but with a laughter nevertheless. I honestly don't know what to make of it, what to do with myself upon hearing it. It's almost like the mere sound of it is meant to be pierce.
The least you could have done is tell me. Maybe I could have helped. Kept an ear and an eye out for you.
Yeah, I bet Rebecca would be good at that. She's good at, like, you know, her surroundings and stuff like that. It's just her only problem is she shows it very easily. Like, her emotions, she has no poker face.
I don't know. I could have been Irene Adler,
oh my
maybe?
god, the Sherlock! Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes, but the mask she tries so hard for me. I give her a smile of my own, though I imagine it comes off as unenthusiastic as hers. It's far easier to slip back to the banter when it's like this, just to brush off everything. At least this way, we wouldn't have to deal with awful things.
The woman? Don't flatter yourself. Nancy Blue, more
Oh
like.
my god.
Her sidekick would beg to differ, Ashett.
I couldn't stop the weary grin from forming in my lips. She probably still has the photo from that contest, keeps it in her old diary. I never did find either of those two after I threatened to burn them. In the end, I just never brought it up again, hoping that she'd forget about the whole thing. But the small smile on her face is a lot. Those were the good times. A lot simpler, a lot more peaceful. Now things have changed. We're no longer the same people we were as kids. Growing up together doesn't mean it always has to be just the two of us in the first place. It's a dumb notion to believe in when nothing else remains constant. Things will inevitably change through the years. In fact, it already has, long ago. Not with just the people we allow into our respective lives, but also with us, as people, as friends. It really does get complicated as we get older, doesn't it? Not everything will be, though. Even if it's in the form of a promise, I have no idea when I'll be able to fulfill.
I swear, I'll explain when it's all over.
The silence afterwards brings an even heavier air in between us. Something that Rebecca thankfully doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
The situation's already awkward as it is. Dragging this all out will only make it more, what? Difficult? Messed up? as if it isn't already.
Back to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case. As far as the job is concerned, I have the weekend off until I have to report to the chief on Monday. Although, I don't want to just throw in the towel on this. Orders are orders. That's right. So, Ashton was fired from the case of Luke Wright and all that because... Okay, so this is after Isabella and Ashton's little escapade at BRC when the ghost girl came out of the freaking TV and scared the crap out of me. Z-Man has shown me photographs, mentioned weird things happening around him these past few days. Bottom line, he's likely to know as much about this as I do. Why else would he approach me, the guy who knows stuff, according to him? In the end, all I've done is give him a brush off, some reliable guy I am. Hell, Rebecca's probably in the same boat, grasping for anything that might provide an answer a way out of this. What can any of us do when all of us lack any understanding of what's happening? One thing's clear about this, however, is that the thing is after us because of the letter. Both Rebecca and Zach have seen it too. She will go after them as well. Okay. Alright, here's where we left out. We got Zachary at the apartment finally because he came and he answered. Now we're calling Rebecca, and this time she is alive. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Ashton, are you there?
Ragged and a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she just ran a marathon prior to this call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Yet? Where are you?
Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library.
You're not gonna say, hey, I saw the ghost girl, she knocked me over and tried to choke me out.
Listen, Ash, about that thing Isabella has been talking about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'm at Salemwell. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is... related to that.
You're there? Is Isabella with you?
Yeah, Zach too.
With a quick press of a button, I switch on the loudspeaker and step back into Isabella's apartment. I hold out the phone towards the two, giving it 2 shakes, urging them to speak up. Both are still carrying worried looks on their faces. This should ease that.
Rebecca's asking for you two.
Becca?
Yes!
Is she okay?
Oh my god, this is what I should have done!
Hello, Rebecca. Odd morning we're having, eh?
Hey, you two. What's happening over there? Is this something I should be worried about?
We'll tell you once you get here. Please, hurry.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But I'm on my way. Give me a few minutes. I'm driving.
She mumbles a goodbye then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for, yet that call left an even more strained tension in the room. Thankfully, we don't have to linger on it for too long. She only takes a matter of a minute to get here, and the second she steps into the room, Isabella clings to her.
I'm so glad
Yay!
you're okay. Ashton checked on you this morning, but...
He did? I'm sorry. I was in a hurry. I didn't have time to drop by and let you know.
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're
Yes,
here.
that's the most important thing, she's not dead! Not burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere, oh my god. Whole, alive, although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least for now, I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some. But the minute Isabella pulls away from her, she winces. A small reaction, the younger woman doesn't even catch it. It's its predecessor for careful observation nevertheless. A closer look reveals a much more disheveled than usual. Hair in a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her dress is also stained of dirt, and places that rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on her usually left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling sight is the limp she has, noticeably once Isabella leans into her room. It all sprouts from a hateful question. What exactly happened, and how did she end up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. I grab her arm before she could walk past, carefully to avoid hurting her, in case there's really an injury. Seems like at first glance, but you can't really be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. Sure enough, Becca tenses immediately upon contact. Tries to pull back, although the sudden gesture only inflicts another wince, forcing her and Isabella to halt. Both of them turn to me almost at the same time, their eyes searching mine for answers. Rebecca, for her part, doesn't appear quite pleased with the interruption, or the fact that someone has brought it to her light. But that someone also has to make sure. Are you alright? Please tell me you didn't do something. No, I'm gonna be like, are you alright? Okay, she's already traumatized enough.
You okay? You're limping.
As expected, she tries to hide it. This time, when she squirms from my grasp, it's enough for she almost stumbles back if Zach hadn't caught her by the elbow. Even with 2 more people shooting her concerned looks, she swifts to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Why won't she say? Like, you already know that the other people, except for Ash, has experienced about, like, you know, the ghost, like Takako. They know about her. Why won't Rebecca say something? Little accident. Hard to believe when the other arm nursing is supposedly fine arm. Isabella doesn't buy any of it either.
In a library?
Well, yeah. It kinda caught me off guard.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Surely, she goes to a very still and hands the place over her arm, shifts ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture to comfort for herself. Warily, she casts a glance at everyone in the room, but only the one she spares for Isabella lingers longer, and in that moment, something unspoken passes between them. An understanding. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen too many times in Isabella. Since that day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us has been so rudely dismissed.
Let me see.
Can we? We have to check if it's bad.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches out for the hem of her sleeve, raising it enough for Isabella to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin started to turn ugly shade of purple.
Oh, that is gonna be one hell of a nasty bruise.
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
Ouch! Like I said, nasty.
But she's there? She went after you.
Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just
I like
there.
how, like, nonchalant they are about it, like, she was there. Yeah, she was there in the library, like, okay.
Well, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible person does
She's
that?
not a person anymore.
Oh, it makes my blood boil.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
Oh, she did run.
Laugh it up, Ashton. I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now.
Silence descends in the room as the gravity of the one word hits us all. Dead. Another close call, another would have, another one we've narrowly avoided. How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at some point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last this like this. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. After all, she's the one who found that letter. I've expected her to have caved in by now, yet her voice, calm and composed in the face of this, is what cuts through the thick air.
I'll go get a cold compress for that arm. You guys take a seat first. Ashton and I, we have a lot of things to talk about.
Oh, okay. That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. As soon as Isabella returns to and hands Rebecca the cold compress she promised, she gets straight down to business. Surprisingly easy, considering the rigid air of the room. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. Oh right, I forgot, Ashton did see the ghost, my bad. All at once, everything we brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed had been laid out for close scrutiny. Zack encounters with the woman in his dream. Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears. The dread, the fear, the terror she brings out even in the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must be a way out of this. No, there has to be logic, be damned. Or at least, that's why Isabella and I would like to believe.
I mean, look at all this stuff Rebecca brought with her.
Finally.
Apparently our teachers have been lying to us all these years. So who knows?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Quietly, Isabella reaches for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Her eyes narrow with each line it passes, but lingers at the illustration of the noblewoman's servant.
Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
I think so. Why else would they tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. Well, this might as well mean that what happened in the mansion years ago also equates into this. And the letter Isabella found? It's at the heart of it. The why and the how is what we're missing here. If I'm going by what Andrew told Zach, the connection between the letter and the mansion curse may run deeper than what we initially thought. We won't be able to figure this out without looking into each other. Okay, and this is where the freaking girl is in the wardrobe. Okay, so this is the scene where they're arguing amongst each other on, like, what to do. And obviously, the best case scenario is to go to the mansion, so I'm pretty sure what Professor Andrew said about, like, a wraith having, like, a curse that's attached to something, and I'm pretty sure what Takako's attached to is the house, and if something in the house has to be broken in order to lift the curse. It's not about the letter at this point. I don't think it is. So, let's see what happens now.
Well, first, we can't just stay here. That much is obvious.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Becca. Sooner or later, she'll...
As if we have a choice. We can't even go back to our own homes because that thing might get us. No, we're safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Isabella. Not to a stupid chain letter you were too gullible to pick up, bring with you, and show to everyone.
Whoa, Becca, that's so mean.
I didn't do it on purpose. Becca, had I known, I wouldn't have...
Hey, you two. None of us want to die to this. Just calm down. We ain't getting anywhere shouting at each other.
Interesting. So yeah, in the first time I played when Rebecca did die, Zach was the one who was angry at Rebecca. Now that Becca's here, Zach is the one that's calming everyone down. That's very interesting storylines here that are changing.
Whose side are you on, Zachary?
No one's. But we can't just say it's her fault. She did warn us not to open it. And both you and Ashton...
That doesn't exempt her from any blame. She's still largely responsible for it.
That's not fair to say, because Isabella didn't know that she was gonna get cursed when she picked up the letter. She was fucking looking for her coworker.
And you're not?
I didn't say that! Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well?
I tried to warn all of you. None of you listened. Now you're blaming me for something I kept telling you guys since day one? You're just as responsible for this as I am.
So now you're throwing
Oh my
it back
god,
at us.
stop arguing!
We wouldn't even be having this problem if you're...
Well, you two cut it out! This ain't the place for I don't know, petty squabbles!
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Zachary.
Oh no, Zach. Don't stop her. Let her say it. I'm sure she has plenty more to say. If I didn't know any better, she's already.
Already what? You want me to say it? Out loud? That I find you in this whole thing?
Alright, that's enough!
Jesus!
You know we can't just go in there.
But we don't have any other choice, Becca! There's really no other way. We have to go there. If you'll just...
Okay, so we're back at the pub with G, and we're just kind of like recuperating so everyone can take a rest, but it seems like Isabella and Becca won't stop arguing, so that's not good.
Isabella? No.
That doesn't sound too comforting. Once Rebecca assumes that kind of tone in the argument with Isabella, it usually ends with one of them walking out or giving both giving the other the silent treatment. It lasts for about a week at most if it's really bad, which really it isn't what we need right now. I've hoped the bad mood for this morning will simply blow over after all of us have gotten a decent rest. I shouldn't have expected things won't be the same with them as it is with Zach and I. Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand, in spite of his efforts to look unconcerned as possible. There's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes, as it occasionally flickers over to where Rebecca and Isabella's voices are coming from. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Neither do I. Things have worked out well between them before, without Zach or I meddling. But in the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. Oh no! Rebecca's already on her feet when I spot them in the almost deserted area of the pub. I'm willing to bet my entire life saving that people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can quite have the mood when she's crossed. I can't speak for Isabella. I rarely see her ever seething, but from what I've heard, it can be very unpleasant. The way she's glaring up the red head from her seat, regardless of how much of the other woman towers over her right now, already says everything. Empty plates have been left neatly piled in the corner of the table they occupy, a conversation that turned sour sometime after lunch then. Good thing they're already done and nothing left to be soiled. Oh, because the next moment, before anything can approach and intervene, Rebecca slams her palm on the table. It sends her silverware clinking sharply against the surface. Isabella flinches momentarily, we both do, though she knows no indication of surrendering in the face of Rebecca's temper. Everything escalates from there.
You've already gotten us in enough trouble because of this.
Why are they fighting?
Let a ghost everything.
It's not gonna help. I get everyone's tired, but like they all agreed that they have to work together to get rid of the ghost and the curse. Why is Becca fighting with her? You're blaming me again.
And you can't expect everyone to fix your mess.
You keep on putting the blame on me, but you're the one who didn't listen. All of you. If you just listened in the first place, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But you're too busy acting like you know what's best for everyone.
Oof.
When in fact, you're the one who's being selfish.
Damn, call her out.
I'm the one who's selfish, yet you're still going to do what you want anyway, even if the people around you are already beside themselves with worry. This is how you've always acted since we met, and I'm tired of it. Sometimes I wish you never even came here, because all you've given us is a headache.
Wow, Becca, that's a low blow.
You know why I had to come here. My dad.
Your dad has nothing to do with this. It has always been you and your whiny, careless self that has always been the problem.
Maybe I should have stepped in earlier. Maybe I should have said something the moment Rebecca slammed her flat hand on the table, or the second I've entered the area. Either way, it's too late to act. Harsh words have already been hurled between the two. Words more cutting than any blade. Each and every one of them digging a wound too deep in the person they have aimed it at. For a long time, Isabella sits there in silence while Rebecca stands unmoving, arms crossed and breathing heavy. Despite the lack of words between them, they're both vibrating with anger, refusing to meet each other's eyes. Ever so slowly, the atmosphere in the room turns thick and smothering. A strained air no one in the immediate vicinity, including me, dares to break, until the ones at the center does. Rebecca definitely won't at some point in our friendship has grown to become a woman firm with her opinions. She's never grown to back down from this, not when she knows she has a point. Isabella, on the other hand, there's always been a certain stubbornness in her. As frustrating as it is to see sometimes, it's what has gotten her through life's hardships. Perhaps even the only thing that has. When you have nothing else, people tend to cling onto what they have within themselves instead. But she also knows when to withdraw, when a struggle turns useless, a kind of awareness almost second to nature to her. When enough is enough, Isabella abruptly stands and marches towards the exit in a fast, rigid steps, away from the hurt and pain words they've left flying earlier. She bumped into me in haste, the impact nearly knocking her off of her feet. Instincts kick in at the last moment. I reach out for her, grabbing her arm and steadily gripping. Surprise flints across her face, an expression mirrored by Rebecca behind her. Neither of them have noticed me. Really? However, that doesn't mean I won't have things to say about this. Oh no, take Isabella's side, take Rebecca's side. I think this is a matter of like who you want Ashton to be with. Since I want Ashton to be with Isabella, I'm so sorry, but I gotta take Bella's side.
You okay?
Yikes. At least it's full bar now! Rather than answer, once her shock subsides, she merely averts her gaze, hastily wiping the tears off her cheeks, like she only noticed them in that moment. Then, without another word, even meeting my eyes again, she gently brushes away my hand and runs off, leaving an awkward hush in her wake. Rebecca soon slumps on the chair Isabella has just left, gingerly reaching up to press the bridge of her nose and breathing out a ragged exhale. Arguments like this have always drained both of her patience and energy, usually more than her rowdy students do, despite being no stranger to it. It's no excuse for her to say those things, though, and my disapproval must be clear enough on my face. When she finally glances back at me, her exhaustion immediately shifts back to annoyance, her mouth curving down in a tight frown. I cross my arm in response, waiting, a reaction verging on instinctive in the face of her irritation. Regardless of my opinions about this, I don't say anything yet, not until she's the one willing to talk. Another minute passes while we stare at each other down, but eventually she breathes out again and relaxes her rigid posture.
What do you want, Ash? If you have something to say, just tell me, or I'm going back upstairs.
Like, I understand everyone's frustrated, but Becca didn't really need to insult Isabella, you know what I mean? Like, insult her being annoying and stuff like that. That's, like, not nice. And, like, Rebecca, how old are you? You're freaking, how old is she? 30? What, 27? Like, you're a grown woman. There's no need to be insulting your friend like that, who is a lot younger than you.
Did you really have to say it like that?
Well, how do you want me to answer her? Do you want me to just let her go there and do what she wants?
No, you could just say it. You don't have to say it nicely. You can say it nicely. That's the one thing you could do.
I know you won't be too happy if I did that.
That's a low blow, Rebecca. Even for you. We all know she wasn't even planning on staying here this long. There was no need to bring it up if all you wanted to do was stop her.
Did you even see how she's acting? She's not a child anymore. Even my students can do better.
Becca, she'll listen if you'll just ask her properly. I know you mean well and you do have a point. But please be a little more thoughtful next time.
Exactly, you don't gotta be bitchy about it, my god!
Go think about it for a while.
By some miracle, the whole discussion ends right there. Rebecca elects to stay silent, or at least it's how it seems when a minute or two passes and she says nothing. A rare occurrence when she almost always has something on her mind. Only an uneasy atmosphere hangs in the air when I finally decide to remove myself from the room. She doesn't stop me. Instead, something inexplicable flickers momentarily in her eyes, one that quickly disappears until only a vague notion of it remains in memory. But in the one exchange, I've caught a short, clear glimpse of what has shifted, of what's inevitable. So much has changed throughout the years, we will never be the same person we once were. And if not for the better, we've yet to know. Okay, I'm gonna end this episode right here, because Ashton's chapter is, I think, is like the longest one aside from Luke. Oh my god, it just makes me mad. This is why I don't like Rebecca's character. She's very nasty. That's my problem with her. She can be a very kind person and very strong woman. Like, she knows how to, like, hold her ground, but, like, sometimes she takes it way too far and says things that, like, you shouldn't say. And the messed up thing is, when we were playing in Rebecca's chapter, she means what she says. That's the difference. With, like, Ashton or Isabella, they're like, oh, I regret what I said, I didn't mean to say that, right? Rebecca's just like, I mean what I said, you're annoying and blah blah blah, because she was even thinking that in her chapter. So it's kind of disappointing considering she's supposed to be the best friend of Isabella, so that's kind of sad. Anyway, I'm glad that I have Rebecca here, at least because we have the information about the Salem witch trials and the witch burning at the mansion. So hopefully the gang will be able to piece everything together. I know they don't have no idea what to do yet, but they have this information with them. So hopefully when they get to the mansion, things will end differently. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, let me know in the comments what you think, and be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you know when I upload the next episode of The Letter. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye! Whoa, calm down there. Whoa, 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 check out this dude. Whoa, why does he have, like, lazy eyes? Is that just me? Oh shit, that's a guy! Oh my god, that's a- A lot of them don't get any credit they deserve, so today I'll be talking about 5 awesome video game sidekicks. Number 5. Dexter. Jak and Daxter series. Dexter, the